Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto,
I'm Keith Malashevsky.
And I'm Greg Hall.
and we are War Room Philly. Welcome to the War Room. Greg, how you doing today? We got a special guest on the show today, Greg Hall, co-founder of the War Room and current host of We Podcast and We Know Things.
Yeah, making my annual appearance.
I love it. It's great.
Just
Yeah.
about, yeah.
Now we're in my wheelhouse though, baby. I don't got to talk NFL draft. I get to talk baseball.
Yeah, it's the rundown for tonight is Phillies. If we don't end up being like 9:45, 10 o'clock, we'll try to get some other stuff in. I would like to see what Greg thinks about the Flyers, but I don't want to pop a blood vessel tonight. That would be my final thought. Also, I see Joe Heston already in chat, bringing it with the request for the Union Minute. We can get all of that in.
We would need a 24-hour charity stream if you wanted my thoughts on the Flyers.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Awesome.
Yeah. There was some rants. It is what it is. But Keith, by the way, how you doing? Oh, by the way,
I'm pretty good. I'm always like in a good spot when we get to talk hot stove for the Phillies, that trade deadline, and of course, like, how can I not enjoy a night where I get to do my original trio of War Room?
Yeah, it's a fun night, and we were brought together by this monumentous occasion because, well, Dave Dombrowski, poke, he did something. So we're gonna dive fully into that, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty much a baseball heavy show tonight. So yeah, I just let's lay it all out there. Noah Syndergaard is a Philly. What else do we got? Brandon Marsh is a Philly center fielder. Which the last time we talked sports, Keith, I think it was just you and I. Maybe Kev was with us. I was like, man, I know the popular opinion is going to be get starting pitching or get pitching in general, but I just want a freaking center fielder. They didn't go out there. They got a center fielder, and we'll get into how people feel about him, but they got a center fielder. They upgraded. Odubel Herrera is no longer on the team.
Fishing by subtraction.
Yes, exactly. And then what am I missing? I got the Syndergaard, right? I feel like I'm missing
Camellia.
We we brought back David Robertson. It's so forgettable. His biggest problem when he was here prior was he couldn't be healthy. He's healthy now, and Robertson's at least a left-handed option that's not. Who the hell did they just get rid of? JoJo.
JoJo.
Yep.
Romero.
So it's not that. It's not Familia. I would love to get into it and get your guys' thoughts as far as all these moves.
Greg, I'll defer to you on this.
I was going to say, Keith, I was going to start with you because I have the receipts. I have lots of notes that I've taken. I mean, if we're just going to start with the Phils and not like their direct competitors and for the wild card and even in the division, when you look at the deals Dave Dombrowski made, I think a few different things. I wanted Tyler Mahle. That's who I wanted. My number one target. He went to the Twins. We did not get him in a package that I thought Dave could have gone for that. So I was a little miffed at what the Reds or what the Twins gave up and why the Phils didn't. You could tell after the Brandon Marsh trade that Thor was not their number one option. Thor was not their number 2, number 3, number 4 option, or else he would have just been packaged with Marsh. But when you look at the trades, it's basically Moniak, Sanchez, and O'Hoppe for Marsh and Syndergaard. And when you really look at it from that lens, it's a darn good trade. You have a center fielder who's one of the top center fielders defensively in the league. The Phillies came out and said, we believe there are some minor hiccups in his swing that we do not feel are big fixes. And with Kevin Long in the fold, with he's done with Alec Boehm and Kyle Schwarber, you got to believe that he can right Brandon Marsh's ship offensively. We have him controlled till 2028. So, and Ohapi was blocked by
That's huge.
Yeah, love it or not, Ohapi was blocked by JT. He was not going to play here. So when you look at that lens, it's a good trade. We'll say trade, even though it was technically two. I like it. I like it a lot. It's almost one of those things where something is better than nothing, and I kind of talked myself into it, and I'm there now. Even though I wanted Maley or Montas or hell Merrill Kelly, who didn't get dealt. I'm thankful we didn't go get Rich Hill or Nate Eovaldi, some guys like that. But I think today was a really good step in the right direction, and the addition by subtraction alone of not having Odubel or Jerry's Familia anymore, I think is a win. So Keith, that's like my first thoughts. Boy, do I have more. I'll throw it to you for yours, but I'm overall very pleased.
No, I'm very much on some similar notes there is why I am excited. As soon as I heard Odubel was gone and then Familia was gone, like I was on board. And as you've alluded to, we really overall didn't give up that much. Now I know a lot of them aren't wow moves, and to kind of compare ourselves a little bit to our direct competitors, last year's, Braves, they didn't go out and make any big splash moves. What they did is they got people who were going to solidify the weaknesses they have. And, they might have been a little bit bigger names, potentially, you might argue. But for me, seeing what they gave up, what they got, they made themselves a very solid team to make a push for a wild card. And that's enough for me just to kind of get the ball rolling and give me a little bit of faith, because anything can happen once you get to that playoff time. Obviously you got monster teams like the Padres and the Dodgers out there who just have that load of talent that running into them in the playoffs is tough. But look, anything can happen. And you made moves that solidified your roster. You didn't give up. You didn't stay put when you could have thrown out, Harper's kind of, hurt. We don't know if he's really, coming back and doing what we need. I know obviously he's trending the right way, but they could have made some kind of argument like that. They didn't. That to me is exciting. Like, I'm just excited to be excited about Phillies baseball. And to say one thing, it's nice to say that we have a center fielder who can play defense.
Yeah, which I think could be understated. Like, we don't know the value of a really good center fielder yet because we haven't had one in a long time.
It's been at least like 5 years, right?
Run prevention is a huge deal. And so when you don't have it, like the Phils were up 1-0 now. Rhys Hoskins couldn't make a play at first base, and now it's 2-1 Atlanta. So like we're so used to seeing poor defense that when we see Brandon Marsh out there, even if he hits 255 with 10 homers, drives in 65 to 70 and steals 5 is enough for me for your 8 to 9 hole hitter center field. The rest of the lineup was the part of the team that was constructed to drive in the runs. I don't need Mike Trout in center field offensively when you're supposed to have Harper, Castellanos, Segura, JT, Derek Hall, Alec Boehm, Rhys Hoskins, and all the other pieces that are supposed to drive in the runs. And Brandon Marsh actually started off hot this year. He was on my fantasy team for a little bit, so I was following him for a while. Plus, I have the baseball package, so I watch a lot of Angels games because who wouldn't? Shohei and Trout.
I got the baseball package after this trade deadline. No,
I mean, like it's crazy. He was over 300 for a while. He was on a little bit of a homer streak, and then he cooled off in a big way. So the potential is there. He's also 24 years old and was a top 50 prospect in baseball 2-3 years ago. He's not that far removed. So, and to give up Moniak, Sanchez, and Ohapi, but again, he was blocked. I'm totally cool with what they gave up. And I think that by the way, we kept Mick Abel, we kept Griff McGarry, we kept Eric Miller, we kept Andrew Painter. How can you say without giving up 4 of your best pitching prospects that we didn't give up a single pitching prospect? I think today was a big win for the now and for the future, even if Thor is just a rental.
And Joe, just to address you directly, yes, we understand where he is not proficient. Here's the thing. We weren't getting hitting and we weren't getting defense from center field. So at least now we have that defense, and we'll see what happens. The lineup itself, as Greg, as you said, has enough as far as the power, the potency, the offense. So having that defense out there is going to be really nice. I'm excited for that. But yes, Thor. I mean, I just love to be able to say I have Thor on the team.
Baseball players add value in other places than just batting average.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, and again, he's cheap. He's going to be here for a while. You need someone that's just sort of cheap sustainability when you have so many heavy hitters built around this team. You're right up against the luxury. I guess you're probably over it now as far as the luxury tax goes. So, 8 home runs, 8 stolen bases. Like, look, he's going to produce in other ways other than, necessarily offense. But if there's one thing, he's going to be stability. It's not Vierling one night, Moniak another night, Dubal Herrera one night. And I think just a stability in it's kind of been the theme that I've been talking all year with this team, is just stability in the lineup. And is this an all-star? No. But is this an improvement to what you had before yesterday? Absolutely.
He's pre-arbitration.
Yes.
He's not even at arbitration yet.
It's huge.
And he's your 9-hole hitter.
Exactly.
Who cares?
I don't want to equate it to Maxey, because Maxey's such a rising star, but you got to think of it in terms of value, like you do sort of in that way. This is essentially a rookie contract in the MLB, or it is a rookie contract, not essentially, in the MLB. So he's young, he's controllable, and if you decide to part ways, you can do that as well. So again, this is a solid move. And Greg mentioned it again for all the other reasons. You gave away your catching prospect, and if your argument is, they could have gotten more for him, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, my retort could be, maybe it was the sweetener to the Syndergaard deal.
That's exactly right.
If you package them together, it looks much better for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, listen, I agree that if you are disappointed because O'Hoppe was only got you a guy that is your everyday center fielder for the next 5-6 years, fine. I'll give you that. I truly, truly will. But at the end of the day, what else did you want? They tried. They clearly tried. So it's not like they were like, this is option one. We went into today thinking Brandon Marsh for Logan O'Hoppe. Of course, they tried to make him the center of other deals to get a better starting pitcher and all of that. But when a team says no, what are you supposed to do? It takes two to tango. I'm not here to overpay. And thank you to Dave Dombrowski for holding firm with the top 3 pitching prospects in McGarry, Abel, and Painter. And so, the whole thing of O'Hoppe's untouchable, that's all pandering. I swear to you, if Dave never said O'Hoppe was untouchable, which he kind of did, he said he wasn't really considering trades for him in the past couple of days, nobody would care. Nobody would bat an eye at this deal. But because he went and said that, and everybody believed him, because for some reason we still believe executives when they speak at all, I think it's just made too much of a deal. Guys, these are prospects.
Mm-hmm. And how many of the Phillies pan out?
And do you remember back with Miguel Cabrera and Dontrelle Willis? They got Andrew Miller, they got a bunch of nobodies, and they got Cameron Maben.
Sorry, I blacked out after you said Dontrelle Willis.
He's one of my favorite of all time. But these guys didn't really turn into much except for Andrew Miller. Then you look at the guys we traded for Roy Halladay. Trevor May is still pitching, but he's the only one. So I really, really, even the Cliff Lee deal, Carrasco's the only one. So I really just don't put the biggest, especially catching prospects. He was a 22nd round pick. This was his breakout. I'm not going to just freak out because we traded a top catching prospect. I'm just not. Garrett Stubbs has been fantastic, maybe even more than fantastic in a backup catcher role. JT has come around over the last month, even though I'm not the biggest JT fan with that contract attached to him. I've got no complaints, guys. I've just got no complaints. Am I through the moon? No, but I'm happy. Can't we all just be happy for once that the Phils did something nice
This is
as opposed to
Philadelphia,
nitpicking
Greg.
everything? Why do we have to be so critical all the time? And yes, I am probably more in on the Phils than most, and I'm probably a defender more than I should be. I'm aware of my biases, but at the same time, how can you look at today and say it was objectively bad at all? You can't. It was a good day. Even David Robertson, who was just flat dominating and the nicest guy in the world on Twitter. How can you not root for him to come back to Philly after a really rough contract, which was not his fault? I'm so excited to have him back at the back end of the bullpen. So come on, guys, let's be just happy for once.
I was gonna say it's funny I was gonna kind of smoothly transition and the natural host in Greg he just passes it up for an easy one timer. I was gonna say I'm actually surprised that the hate isn't more on the David Robertson part of things, just because of people maybe not necessarily paying attention to what he's doing, but just remembering what he didn't do. But again, this is a move where you added flashback to 2019. We're going to say the same things, but you're adding a veteran righty who has pitched in every role possible in the back end of the bullpen. If anything, it's, and this sounds corny, and I usually am against this, but if anything, he's just a good veteran presence. And he's not Familia or Jojo Romero. So it's these.
If Sir Anthony pitches 2 days in a row in the 9th inning, now we don't have to lean on Brad Hand to get a save.
Yeah, and we haven't even brought up the fact that Thursday Gene Segura comes back. Bryce Harper trending in the right direction, looks like he's 2 to 3 weeks away, and you still have Sam Coonrod who can come in potentially in September. All these guys are trending in the right direction, and then you have Eflin too. I just realized I did my little injury report. I don't know if you guys know the hate for me and Eflin, but I dislike him so much that I forgot to put him on. But say you get.
No, I actually think Eflin's going to be your pen guy. I think he's going to be a long reliever before Rangers because I think Rangers been doing better.
Yep. I think Gibby would be over both of them.
Oh yeah, you think he's going to be your pen dude?
Wouldn't you rather have Eflin Ranger than any other of those combinations? Now hold on. Let's do this because I put this in my notes and I think this really leads to this conversation really, really well. Thor has pitched on full days rest. The normal days rest 0 times this year. The Angels have a 6-man rotation because of Shohei. And let's just call it what it is. Boy, I would too if I had Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. But Thor's never pitched on regular rest. Do the Phils go that route? Does Bailey Falter stay in the rotation until maybe Eflin is healthy? You slot Eflin in, and that gives Thor his back to his 6-day thing, which I don't really want. We're paying $7.1 or something like that $1 million for a rental. I want him to pitch a lot before he leaves us. Kind of get over it. You had 4 months in a 6-man spot, but that could be a thing. And Falter stays because then remember this: Falter then goes to the bullpen. I don't know if they move him down to AAA, continue to stretch him out, or if he becomes the long man. I also don't know if Eflin's coming back, and when he does, I don't know if he's staying healthy. I kind of almost count Eflin out for the year, last year and the year before.
Yeah, and if he does come back, that's why I think he might be your rotation guy, surely because you want to limit his innings because of his durability issues. So that's what I was thinking, that he is a long reliever, especially in the playoffs. If you end up going that route and you have him there, he's at least somebody that I feel like you get a couple quality innings out of.
If he's healthy come playoff time, if we're lucky enough to make a wild card, yes, he makes the roster. You don't leave Eflin off if he's healthy. He'll be your long man. Or Gibby will, who knows. But even if we play the Brewers, they have Woodruff, Peralta, Corbin Burns. You put Wheeler, Nola, Syndergaard up against that?
You might not need it.
That's funny.
You might not need it, right?
Exactly. I wrote down our rotation, and
I saw it.
And I snapped it out to some people. Shout out to the 6 people I still Snapchat.
I can't believe you have Snapchat.
Yeah. It's I literally have Snapchat solely because of one group thread that I have with me and a group of obviously a group of friends, and we're just we just send it's like the bro chat. We just send each other the dumbest things, and It's like we might as well just have a text thread, but instead we just still do it over Snapchat. But it's funny because I feel like I don't know if we're in the majority. I go just like you, Greg. Wheeler, Nola, Syndergaard, Gibson, Ranger would be my.
Wow. I go Ranger. Yeah. I go Ranger 3.
Now see.
Syndergaard 4, Gibby 5. Ranger's been unbelievable since he came off the IL. He was awesome last year.
He's been very good.
He gives you a lefty in the middle of the rotation.
If he continues his upward trend, I'm all for it. This was kind of Gibson, for the most part, has been trending, but now they're kind of both on opposite paths. So I'm all for flipping them. I'm all for tweaking it in any which way. That was the way I wrote it down, just like real quick before the show, just to be like, that's a good looking 5. You know, it's like the beginning of the year when you just do like you write down your first lineup. You're like, that's a good looking lineup. Like we were kind of all doing this year. Now you're matching that good looking lineup with this good looking 5.
Well, how about this too? You got where's that? Nelson, Brogdon, Robertson, Hand, Alvarado, Bilotti, Knebel, Sir Anthony. It's a hell of a bullpen too.
It is. No, like really, I have no true complaints right now about this team. It's a solid team.
Yep. No obvious holes. No obvious glaring.
He's got 14
defense
saves this year. I think that's really worth noting.
Yeah, he's got an 11. He's striking out 11 guys per 9 innings at 37
all
years old.
The other ones are very easy to see, like 2.23 ERA and out of the bullpen in today's day and age. That's not to be laughed at. Again, it's a credit to where he's at now with 14 saves. You're adding that to your bullpen. That's not to be laughed at. You're adding depth and you're adding a guy,
your setup guy or your closer.
And the Phillies are kind of going with them and with this roster, I don't blame them, but they're going with the more modern trend. They're just going with the numbers, and Sir Anthony is probably your closer, but you're gonna need a second and maybe even third tier closer, and it's good to add a guy like David Robertson in this kind of role.
Robertson there, Corey Knebel's been fantastic lately. You've taken away Juris Familia, so he doesn't touch anything.
We can go back to how we got rid of Odubel and Familia as many times as you want, because it's never going to be a bad point.
So you have some guys that really have been throwing really well this year, and that's exciting. It's exciting to say because we've had such garbage in the bullpen the last few years. Just like it's exciting to have defense in the outfield, because you just haven't seen that in the past few years. It's exciting to see a solid lineup as far as rotation rather and lineup, because we haven't seen that. We haven't seen a quality Phillies team in quite a few years, and it's just exciting to be able to say, hey, this team can win some games.
I came on this show in July 2020, right when baseball was starting back up again with the pandemic, and I came on this very show and I defended the Phillies bullpen to the two of you, and I said they're not going to be as bad as everybody thinks. I thought Ramon Rosso was going to be a valuable piece of a bullpen. He pitched the first game, got shelled, and never pitched again. He pitched once or twice, but that's what I had to convince myself of for years, that the worst bullpen in the history of the Phillies was actually going to be okay. The thing that was their undoing the last 2 seasons. And I finally feel good about it, because if it's not going to be Sir Anthony, it'll be Robertson or it'll be Knebel. And then it can be Brad Hand as the 4th option. Depending on the lineup, he can be your option if they're lefty heavy or whatever the case might be. He's been pretty darn good. But I feel good that I don't have to defend this team anymore. They're finally just a good team. And I've crushed Nick Castellanos on social media for his performance this year, and it's very well deserved. But the guy hit 500 during the Pirates series. He's got a hit tonight on a 3-2 pitch against the Braves. He's coming out of it. He's had stretches of his career. He hit 304 with 30 home runs last year. Yes, he's not doing well this season, but that's not the Nick Castellanos that he knows he could be. He's hit 380 for 2-month stretches in his career. Gosh, when we get Bryce Harper back, just this team's going to be complete. And it's just It's going to be an exciting August, an exciting September, an exciting little bit in October there. Guys, we have 11 games left against the Nationals. Can we just revel in that fact that we could go 10-1?
Without Juan Soto now.
Or Josh Bell.
Or Josh Bell.
Hold on. By the way, let's take a timeout. And let's just, can we talk about the MLB real quick? Because I know Greg wants to.
Oh, I got notes. Yeah. Okay.
But can we take a real quick timeout on the Phillies talk? And by the way, chat, we'll get back to everything. I see it coming in hot. Let's just talk about some of the MLB trades real quick. Because Greg, do you got a top 3? Can we do a shout out to the We podcast and we know things?
All right, we can go top 3
or top 30. Let's talk about the Soto trade. Let's just get into it. I got only Phillies notes up, but yeah, let me pull up the MLB.
I got it all. I took my own notes as I was putting my daughter to bed. She was on my shoulder sleep, and I'm typing with my other hand, all these other crazy stats. And so, I'm ready to go. Whatever you guys want.
Yeah. So again, I guess let's start with the Soto, because we're I was gonna say we're getting Padres, but that's Padres talk even in chat. Even if it's somewhat Keith, but I see there's other people too.
No, there's other people saying.
I know you're answering people. I'm just messing. I was like, it's a Padre. Oh, no. I was like, no, then there's other. But yeah, let's start off with the Padres and what they did, specifically Soto, and then we can just move around the MLB with whatever you got, Greg.
I think it's one of those things where you want to concentrate on the teams that are right around the Phils. So it's Mets, Braves, Cardinals, Padres, and Giants, I guess, to an extent too. So those are the teams really that we're competing against, whether it's for the division, which is probably out of reach at this point, 10 games back. But Jacob deGrom's back for the Mets, and they're losing 4-1 to the Nationals. So which there's a thing. Tell me about it. They're back to giving him no run support as per usual.
There you go.
The Braves had a good deadline. The Padres obviously had an amazing, let's call it what it is, deadline. The Cardinals had a sneaky good deadline, and the Giants had a very weird, probably negative deadline. So if one team was going to get Juan Soto, if the Nats were as dumb as they could be and they had to trade the best hitter on the planet, the best baseball player we've potentially ever seen in our lifetime, at least, I'm glad it was to the Padres, who are ahead of us right now. We still control our own destiny. The Phils have the head-to-head, the tiebreaker against the Cardinals. Hell, we have it against the Padres too, and the Brewers if it comes down to that. But this is the thing you want. The team ahead of you got better, and so you're not saying, "Oh, Juan Soto's he's a Cardinal, and now we have to go head-to-head with the Cardinals." If we finish with the same record as the Cardinals from here on out, we make the playoffs. It's as simple as that. So when the Cardinals do Jordan Montgomery and Jose Quintana, some lefty starters, fine. Their offense still doesn't scare me at all. Those are more middle to the back end of the rotation adds. Fine. Your ace is still Adam Wainwright. That doesn't scare me. The Padres, however, are going to have to pay Juan Soto $500 million. It's going to make $500 million. Let's call it what it is, over 15 years. That's just going to happen. And then you pair him with Machado. You pair him with Tatis. And how's this for insane? They're still under the tax, or they're right at it. The Phils, however, were at 230 coming into the year. They were way over. They're eating all $7 million of Thor's money. They're not at that second next luxury tax threshold quite yet, so the penalty will still stay the same. But you talk about rosters for your dollars, even the Braves signed Austin Riley for a decade last night. It is wild what's going on around the Phils, but the teams below them didn't get better. The Giants didn't get better. They traded Darren Ruff, which is hilarious to say.
Who?
Exactly.
That guy?
And the Cardinals got some back end rotation help.
Didn't Darren Ruff hit a big hit against the Phillies this year, or was that last year? I know that happened somewhere recently in my memory.
Yeah, sure wasn't with the Phils.
No, it wasn't with. It was against. And I was like, is that? Yeah. I had to Google it. I was like, it can't be this idiot.
It's that idiot. But yeah, we if Soto went anywhere, I was hoping the Dodgers would come in like they always do and take him, because that would have just been fantastic. But if it was any team, I'm glad it was the Padres ahead of us, because it just doesn't matter for our goal of making the playoffs. If they're already ahead of us, who cares?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. I got to be honest. I kind of looked at it like, damn, the Padres are getting better. It's going to be harder for us.
But it's not. It's going to be harder once we get there. Yeah, but we got to get there.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's a very good point. I like the positive way to look at it. But again, the Phillies are by no means like guaranteed a playoff spot.
And they're not like World Series contenders.
They're certainly in control of their destiny. They're certainly the closest that they've been in years. And yeah, if let's say you start getting like people are pretty like hard on Castellanos, and again maybe rightfully so, Castellanos, JT, but let's say if these players start to heat up, and we've seen a little bit more out of Real Muto kind of since the All-Star break, since they got back, but if you start to get real solid contributions out of these players, it's going to be more and more. And again, if you have now a center fielder that's stable, your fielding is going to be better. Look, the one thing I will say about Castellanos is he didn't really sign up to be playing right field every day. He thought Bryce Harper was going to be, that main attraction. So it's been an uncomfortable year for him. He's still underperforming. Like, let's all we can all agree on that, right? Like, no one is sitting here being like, oh my God, I'm in love with we're certainly getting bang for our buck. Like, no, he's underperforming to his contract to this point. I would say, as far as Castellanos, like, I'll bring out the pitchforks if it's this time next year and it's still looking this bad or worse.
Yeah.
But right now, and Greg, you pointed to it. He's hit 380 at stretches. Like, we've seen what he can do. If he gets into one of those stretches at, let's say, the most important time of the year, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, and if I hear he's leading the team in hits one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Bryce Harper's not on the team. Of course he's leading the team in hits. Like, people are like, oh, he's – what about Kyle Schwarber? The guy's hitting 205. If average is your thing, well, then why aren't you crushing him? Oh, because he's contributing in other ways. He's hitting 73 solo home runs. And I want to just really quick address something I saw in chat. We could have gotten Andrew Benintendi. Stop. He's a rental. We're not doing that. Brandon Marsh is here for 5 years. Is he a better player? No, he's not. Benintendi is the better player. But my gosh, he's a rental. He's going to be a free agent. So, let it go. Dave wanted the center field answer for the future, and we got it. At least we got somebody to try out until potentially Johan Rojas or something like that is ready. So, please, with the Benintendi stuff, as much as I wanted him, my goodness, he was a rental. I'm fine. I'm not over the moon for the trades they made, but I'm fine with them. Just let's be happy, man. This is my blood's boiling right now.
At the end of the day, it's look to the angry people's point. Joe, it was this was maybe not everyone you wanted, but it was kind of bang for your buck as far as the trade value goes and what you got rid of. So, were there better players to be had, especially at center field? Yes. But at the end of the day, you got to remember that the Phillies are working with the Phillies farm system, and you also have to save some of these chips for next year. And
when we trade for Rafael Devers, got it.
So yeah, there's going to be more trades to be had. So I think they struck while the iron was hot with certain players, specifically. What was his name? O'Rourke, the catching prospect. I might have just
O'Hoppe.
O'Hoppe. I knew it was something. Something.
Overhyped? Yeah, I'm just kidding.
We'll see. Again, here's what I always say with people who hype up or one way or another with prospects. It's just go through history. And how many times have we been proven wrong with these? It's like you get rid of these guys and they become nobodies. So yeah. I don't have all the faith in the Phillies farm system. Let's call it what it is.
I do. Brian Barber's been phenomenal since he took it over. We're not talking about the old days where we have developed Aaron Nola and nobody else. Since Brian Barber's been in the organization, we've had an upswing in our prospect development and our draft and development and everything, which I appreciate. Those are future problems, though. Those are things that we won't see for years. But I do kind of semi-disagree with you in the thought or the fact of, you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. And that's what a prospect is.
Correct.
And we need the tickets, right? We don't have the tickets. That's the problem. The Powerball jackpot's $1.2 billion and we got $2 in our pockets. So like I'm at that point where we did save our biggest tickets. Griff McGarry is still here. Mick Abel is still here. Andrew Painter is still here. Eric Miller is still here. Like even guys like I can't think of his name. Middle infielder we got 2 years ago during the pandemic. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. But like we still have some decent hitting prospects as well, but we signed hitters. That's what we have. That's what's on the books. And by the way, we have a ton of money coming off potentially at the end of this year. Like I'm just not super worried about the hitting side of things. We locked up guys like Castellanos and Schwarber and Harper to be our JT to be our core offense for years. That should be enough. Bohm will be here for 5 more years before he's a free agent. Like I'm not worried about the offense. We need pitching. And we might even go get Trey Turner in the offseason. Who knows? Everybody's been linking to us already. But, there are a million other things we need to worry about right now than the prospects we gave up. So I see it both ways. You need the tickets, but the tickets that they gave up, I'm kind of cool with what we did. We didn't give up our 3 biggest tickets.
And that's huge. I mean, that is huge to say because it gives you – to borrow another term from somebody else, it gives you optionality when it comes to acquiring people in the off season beyond just going and signing some names. If you are continuing on this run that it seems like they are, where they're like, all right, cool, we're all in. We think we got a team. Obviously we're losing 2 of the players we just traded for in Robertson and Thor at the end of the year. They are only rentals, but it's nice to see they didn't give up a lot to get rentals. Like that needs to be recognized. So
one premium prospect and Mickey Moniak.
That's it.
Yeah, and Moniak has, all but fizzled out here in Philadelphia. We kind of all got our, hopes up again, and then, maybe his defenders would say, oh, the wrist injury, derailed him. But at this point, it's just we've waited too long, and
wish him nothing but the best.
You might be getting another team's Mickey Moniak, but you have somebody here who, if anything is going to give you one thing, it's defense, and that's more than what you could rely on in any of your center fielders before that. That you couldn't say, give me one thing that they can do. Like, we at least have a one trick, and he's cheap, which matters when your team is up against the luxury tax. Is it the sexiest move? Is it the best move? No. But is it better than what you had? Yes. Again, I think that if like a lot of things that are being said in chat are just, you're just you're saying things to make yourself right, but you weren't in the war room. Haha, we said it. So you can't just.
He said the thing.
So you can't just throw out hypotheticals or say, oh, they waited too long, because it takes 2 to deal. We've gone over this pretty much every time any team makes a trade. So again, I'm not lining my spot up on Broad Street by any means. But I was already pretty excited about this team all year. They came out flat. They fired Joe Girardi, got red hot, got everyone's hopes back up, and the Bryce Harper injury has kind of, in a weird way, galvanized this team together. As other people are kind of starting to pick up the slack. And again, if certain players, if JT continues to get hot or actually gets hot, and goes on a stretch, that's going to propel this team. If Castellanos, and this is the 3rd time we'll mention his struggles, but if he gets hot, it's going to propel this team into, again, they're already in playoff spot. It's going to keep them there and ideally fend off the likes of San Francisco and St. Louis, because they didn't get better, which again is a great point by Greg.
St. Louis did, but it wasn't by leaps and bounds.
I think the Phillies got better than St. Louis. Is that fair?
I would say it's probably even.
Okay.
They got 2 starting pitchers. We got a starter and a center fielder with a bullpen piece. It depends on how you look at
it. Utility guy. We deepened our bench, overall, so we just became more solid, and that's why I'm like, all right, cool. Like we have a solid team. Like it's.
We also have one of the best defensive shortstops in Edmundo Sosa. Then we gave up Jojo Romero, who has a career ERA of 7 to the Cardinals. By the way, let's not forget about that trade. It's a very late inning depth defensive piece, but it's something we didn't have.
So. Yeah, it is something. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a nice bench piece. Like, and getting Segura back and having Didi there that allows you to put Stott to be able to do Didi or Stott somebody off the bench. Like Didi can be a bat bench if you really want to do that. If you want to leave Stott in because Stott's looked good recently.
Stott struck out 6 times in all of July. I mean, like just his bat to ball skills are incredible. They just got to start falling for him, but. His bat to ball skills are incredible. He's so exciting as a prospect, and he always hits the big homer. It's funny. Earlier, I said how I wanted Tyler Mahle. I was pretty on record all day of that. I just traded in my fantasy league. I just traded Syndergaard for Mahle. They wanted to jump on the hype train of him being a Phil, so I capitalized and turned it into Mahle. So
I do have Syndergaard.
So we
that I
acquired Mahle in one way or
another. But the book of Bo Bichette got his guy in Tyler Mahle, baby.
Yeah, I mean it's just fun to be able to do these things, fantasy baseball wise, and it's fun to find joy in baseball again. That's kind of where I'm at. Like it's just like I haven't been able to really enjoy it. I actually went to my first baseball game in a few years. Obviously, we had a pandemic in there too, but it's been a few years since I went to a baseball game. And I went this year, and now I'm willing to go again. Like it's, obviously going to cost me a little bit since the Phillies are actually showing they might actually care. Firing a coach mid-year, making the trades necessary to stay on track like they are. It shows to me that, they're at least willing to do something. These moves may not work out. We don't know, obviously, but they're not staying the same. They're not standing pat. Like that in itself, the fact that this year they've been willing to change their core and change their structure willingly.
Yeah. If I was going to get an expensive rental, I would have preferred Carlos Rodon. That's a name we haven't even brought up yet in the show, and they were linked to him by multiple reporters. Even the Giants beat was on it with the Phils specifically named. So like that would have been the guy I wanted over a guy like Thor from a purely rental standpoint. He's going to opt out and he's going to go get his bag, which is fine.
Absolutely.
That would have been a 2-for-1 because you're taking the Giants' best pitcher, or one of, probably Logan Webb, but their second best pitcher. You're bringing him to you. It's almost like you're leaving them in the dust, and then you have Jordan Montgomery and Quintana to the Cardinals. That's like, forget about it. So, and he would have been your bona fide number 3, Rodon, even maybe your number 2, Wheeler.
I think they really did want Rodon. I think that's why, like Syndergaard didn't get traded when we traded for Marsh.
100% agree. They were going for a Rodon type, probably Mahle too, because Mahle happened after Marsh. So like when those two dudes fell off, Syndergaard was the best available rental pitcher. There's just nothing else you can say about that. Middleton is spending money. Dave's letting them dangle. He's making the team better. Is it ideal? No. Would you hope the $240 million bought a better roster top to bottom? Yes, but at the same time, there are guys underperforming their contracts pretty severely right now, and they're still in a playoff spot. If they can literally just get back to their career norms, this team is going to be fine. So
Castellano and JT specifically,
Hoskins too, to an extent.
Hoskins as well.
A little bit of the sign JT.
That's it.
He's been that for 3 weeks. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest JT.
But
he still can't frame it.
Since the All-Star break, they've been red hot.
Well, since they got after the Cubs series, that's not. I would say.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean,
after 3 games after the All-Star break, they've been high. Yeah,
but really, I mean, overall, since that happened, they've been a fantastic team. Like tonight, they're losing 4-1 in a bullpen game because we didn't have a rotation because they just traded for the guy for the rotation that would have been tonight. Okay, fine. I'm gonna gripe about that. Oh no, but this is the first clunker they've had since the Cubs series, which it's against the Braves, and it would be nice to, but I'm happy because it's taken them this long to have a clunker.
Guys, we got Wheeler on the mound tomorrow at 12:35. We win that game, we split a road series. Who cares? Who cares? Just win tomorrow if you lose tonight. That's the beauty of baseball.
Correct.
And to the point of we could have added a guy a month ago, then we wouldn't have gotten Syndergaard for Moniak and Sanchez. It would have cost Joe Hoppe too, just to get Syndergaard without Marsh, because teams are going to have their price sky high a month ago, and nobody wants to deal. So like you wait. You knew the Angels were going to make the move, and you got them for nothing. Mickey Moniak and Sanchez, nothing. So like, can we please get off we should have traded earlier? I begged them to as well on social media, but guess what? They didn't, and it would have cost them an arm and a leg. Dave waited. He trusted his guys. The team got them to where they're at. They're in a playoff spot as we speak. Thank God for the third wild card. And guess what? We are right now in the driver's seat as it currently stands. Let's just win tomorrow. Yeah, it's 8-1. Corey Knebel got rocked tonight. What are you going to do? Let's go out. We lost the bullpen game. Who cares? Wheels on the mound. Let's split. That's it.
That's it. Like having Wheeler tomorrow. Listen, you expect to lose a bullpen game. Going into the bullpen game, you're probably going to lose a bullpen game.
And then
you move. Yep, absolutely. And then you move on to the game with your ace in it, and that's the one you go, okay, cool. And this is the one we're going to fire on all cylinders for.
And you know what the best part about the Syndergaard deal is? No more bullpen deals. Or well, I shouldn't say no more. Maybe less bullpen games.
It lessens the chance.
We'll see. And then if by any chance Eflin gets back and can be a starter, then you definitely don't. And yes, Corey Knebel does suck.
Keep in mind that we just have to finish tied with the Cardinals to make the playoffs. So the Cardinals are up 5-0 tonight. We're losing 8-1. We're going to be even after tonight if those results hold. We still are in the driver's seat. Right. Don't freak out in baseball when you lose a game. Freak out in the last 2 weeks of the season, but guys, 162 games. Like, it's Atlanta on the road. You have a bullpen game. Do you really, as Spencer Strider's on the mound, do you expect to win? Nah, you don't. So it is what it is. I'm not over the moon. I don't think this team is perfect. I don't think this team is a top 5 team in the National League, but I do think they're a top 6 team. And that's really all you need to make. That is literally all you need to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I'm at this point. I'm not really panicking. I'm certainly not like in Joe mode. I'm pretty close to timing him out because he just keeps spinning in circles. And
he's just trolling, guys.
Other people want to chat, and it's getting annoying.
He's just trolling.
But yeah, I'm on board right now. I think it's we've kind of, speaking of going in circles, it's just like to wrap this part of it up. San Diego got better. St. Louis is, in my opinion, that's the team to watch. I don't want to say I'm sleeping on the Giants, but I'm more worried about St. Louis than I am any other team.
Me too.
As far as overthrowing the Phillies. St. Louis is a team that, how many times have we seen in years past? They get one of those stretches. They get a 6 seed or a 5 seed in years past. They turn it into a ring. So St. Louis is very much a team that I fear, very much a team that I could see ruining all of these happy feelings that we have tonight. That being said, I'm not going to let that ruin one day. And I do want to have a little bit of fun as, you know, this deadline, it went from like, are you like cursing at the phone to then being like, all right, we got, and yeah, I am a bit of a Syndergaard fanboy. I'm already going on and ordering this jersey.
Yeah.
But I don't care. My 2 favorite Mets ever are both on the Phillies, and I like that. The two Mets that I've ever liked are both on the Phillies right now. And I think
I love David Wright. And I always did.
Respect, right? Respect, but I hate David Wright. Because I'm a Phillies fan, I hate David, but like purely out of respect. Like I mean that.
It's a good hate. It's a good hate.
Like I mean that in the most like Philadelphian. I hate you, but like pure respect. Hall of Fame, the whole 9. But
Anthony, I think there's one other person that's on that list for you, which was when Cespedes eventually went there.
Wait, what was that?
Were you a Cespedes fanboy? I think you were, weren't you?
Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait a second. I forgot the name for a second. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I knew you were huge on him. You were heartbroken.
Johan Santana is an all-time, like, what a crazy trade that was. I remember I was in my dorm room when that happened. That was wild. playing Call of Duty 4 with Ryan Cunningham. I'll never forget that night.
One of the few things we'll get with Greg Hall on the show, we will get Mets trade talk.
Dude, I got plenty more. I know we only got like 15 minutes.
But this is what happens when you think about division rivals. You remember these things.
Yeah, Braves got better. Odorizzi, Raisel Iglesias, Robbie Grossman. Mets got Darren Ruff. So like the teams ahead of us got better. Yeah, but the Cardinals didn't get that much better. They added stability to the rotation, which cannot be undervalued. But Jose Quintana, this was his one good year of the last 5 years. We'll see if he can keep the magic up. Jordan Montgomery was a pitcher who couldn't get past 5 innings for the longest time. And then when the Yankees went on their streak earlier this season, so did he. So his track record of success isn't super far. They gave up Harrison Bader to go get Jordan Montgomery. That's a risk. So, and they're both left-handed options, which, by the way, falls into the Phillies' favor when you have Castilla. I know they're not playing him anymore, but like it's as simple as like the Cardinals improved, the Phils improved, the Giants probably got a little bit worse. San Diego was already ahead of us. They clearly won the deadline. But like with the teams packed in with you, yeah, the Phils probably did the second best, and they're like right there with the Cardinals. So like, how can you complain about that? It's just simple as that. Let's just ride the wave. Let's just ride the next 2 months. That's what we got. We got 2 more months left of this, fellas. And then 2 months, we'll look back and we'll say, hey, those 11 games with the Nationals, if we, we could go 10-1.
That's huge.
Let's do this. We haven't done this yet, and I promise I'll be fast. I promise I'll be fast.
I bet you will.
Phillies up. I'm never fast. So like, there's a thing there. 11 against the 11. Never mind. 11 against the Nats. They get Cincinnati for 7. By the way, they get Pittsburgh at home for 3. Arizona, San Francisco, Miami for a bunch. 7 in September alone. 2 more against Toronto. They end the season with 10 on the road straight, but 7 of those are against the Cubs and the Nationals.
That makes me Greg about them. Let me tell you, that makes me Greg about them.
It's funny because that's a pretty easy schedule. I said that last year about September and they blew it. But like when you look at the Cardinals, they also have a pretty easy schedule because they're in a bad division. When you have like the Cubs, the Pirates, like in your division, they have the Cardinals. They get Arizona 4 against the Cubs, the Reds a bunch. I'm sorry, no, the Reds only one more time. They end the season. However, Pittsburgh ends the season with 6 straight against the Pirates, where we end it with 3 against the Astros. Those last 3 games against the Houston Astros, who might have the division wrapped up and could be resting some players, could be a huge final 3 days of the 2022 season. This is just an exciting time to be a baseball fan.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, how do you? It's but I blanked out when you said Pittsburgh too. By the way, for a second, because I was like, on Sunday coming home from Cleveland, I'm like, hey Jamie, Pittsburgh's only a half hour away. The Phillies are on like in 5 minutes. In 5, we could get there by the 3rd inning. We could leave by the 6th. We could still say we went to PNC.
Beautiful park.
It's it's a tough detour to make when you already have a 6-hour drive, still ahead of you. But it's on the bucket list. And also,
I sensed a war room outing one time. We're just going to drive 5 hours to the stadium.
While I can just be mad about other stadiums too, I was in Cleveland for a week, and great time for the Guardians to be away. The whole
I'm
week.
So sorry. That's a fantastic stadium.
Yeah, I just want to go. Like anytime I go to a city, I want to go to a sporting event because why not? So yeah, it was but plenty of other fun. But I digress.
Maybe
do you guys know who
summer baseball tour?
Do you guys know who Philly in chat is?
Yes, I believe that's Nick. I get this wrong or almost right every week. Is it Nick Keith? Do you remember now?
I think it's Nick.
Yeah.
Good for you in chat for calling out the Nick Pivetta for Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry trade that happened in 2020. In 2020, the worst bullpen in baseball added Heath Hembry, Brandon Workman, David Hale, and Brent Phelps. Yeah. And like that was all for nothing. So like at least we're not there. We actually gave up Connor Siebold with Nick Pivetta too, which nobody remembers. So like at least we're not there.
I remember you saying it.
It's insane. I timed out Joe, and all of a sudden other people can get comments in.
It's funny how like this like we got Syndergaard, Robertson, Brandon Marsh, and not Brandon Workman. That we got the good Brandon, the better Brandon. I'm excited. Let's go. You know what I mean? Thursday, Segura's debut. Or I'm sorry, Segura's back. Marsh's debut. It's going to be kicking off a 4-game set against the Nationals. Like, let's just go win some ball games. It's going to be great.
4-0. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. I guess transition. Do we have any other Phillies comments for tonight before we just like try to smooth things out?
I said my piece.
Any other MLB comments, more specifically to you, Greg?
Trivia question for both of you. What's the only team in Major League Baseball today that did not make a trade?
Oh man.
Man.
I'll take a guess, but I'm probably wrong. In fact, I know I'm wrong. I'm gonna switch the guess before. I'm just gonna
every team but one made a trade.
I'm just gonna literally pull a team out of the middle of the country.
Go ahead, and then I got one.
Go ahead, you pick.
No, I want to hear yours.
Chat, don't give it away.
Arizona?
Nope.
I was gonna go with Oakland.
Arizona traded David Peralta.
That was
to the
my
Rays.
first guess, and I'll be mad if you were right. Oakland? Keith said Oakland.
Nope. Nope. Right. Oakland traded Frankie Montas.
I was like, wait.
Oh, that's right. They did trade Montas. I forgot about that.
So
I forgot about Montas. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna take one last shot at it.
They're a let's just say this. They're a joke of a franchise. They have no idea what
Phillies.
They want to do.
Wait.
They have no idea what their direction is, and they're not going to win their division for the next 15 years. And they made a very weird signing this year of a superstar player, which I still have no idea why, and he's currently on the injured list. He's played like 20 games, and like they paid him like $200 million or something crazy, $180 million. I can't remember. Yes, Philly got it in chat. The Colorado.
Yeah,
Rockies.
that's right.
Did I not say? I said Colorado. Oh no, I said Arizona. I was about to say Colorado, and I went to the team up in the standings.
Expos. Yes, well played, the Expos.
Yeah, the only team in Major League Baseball who did not make a trade this deadline was the Colorado Rockies.
I forgot about that.
The Colorado Rockies.
I will always make that joke if Greg is on there.
Blackman last night. I was talking about Charlie Blackman last night. I should have remembered that.
Oh, Charlie Blackman. He's like 39 years old.
Yeah, but he still seems to know how to play.
That's true.
So
the Rockies, they didn't start game 2 of their doubleheader. They lost 13-5 today in game 1 of their doubleheader. So there's
nice.
That.
So then, yeah, if there's no other Phillies or MLB talk, I would like to maybe get a little quick transition into the not so good franchise in town. The Philadelphia Flyers, Greg. They've had a lot of there's been a lot of words said about them this offseason.
That's right. Greg hasn't been able to say any of them.
One.
Feels like none of them have been good. But let me get your thoughts on the John Tortorella hire and just everything else after that.
Well, I will say this real quick.
And I'm going to try to untime out Joe, too.
Something we didn't talk enough about for the Phils that maybe we can another time is, and maybe we don't ever have to say his name again, but we didn't talk a ton about Odubel or Familia being gone, and I think that's probably for the better. I'm ready to leave those dudes in the past. Yeah,
we said that pretty much every time we could do addition by subtraction.
Yeah. With the Flyers, I'm currently looking for somebody who specializes in tattoo removal. The 10-inch Flyers logo on my left calf is really sore today. I have poured my heart and soul into this organization. I some reason watch every game, and you guys know. I mean, we started this show a decade ago based on the Flyers. That's how we got our biggest hit on listeners was Flyers fans, and the most thing we talked about was hockey. And like, I will always love the Flyers, but not this organization, not this version, not this team. And I'm, it's like half step forward, 25 steps back. And it's an embarrassment of an organization, a team that I love, and it sucks. I can't wait for hockey season, but it ain't because want the Flyers are going to be any good. They're going to be a cellar dweller again. And that's just what we're going to have to live with for a while. And John Tortorella was the most head-scratching hire. And your ownership saying we're going to go out with an open checkbook. And they never should have said it, but they did. Again, pandering. And again, stop listening to front offices because they don't mean it. Because then all of a sudden they were like, no, we're in stabilization mode. No, you want to tank again to try and get a top pick next year in a loaded draft. So I have real concerns. A once prominent farm system has yet to really pan out at all. You have your top goalie prospect is in the Russian army or Navy. And so like, there's that. You missed on a franchise superstar left winger who literally wanted to come play with you. You did not make happen for reasons. You gave a fighter, a 31-year-old fighter, 4-year contract. Your heart and soul and your captain is gone. And he went to sign home, by the way, the team that wanted him. He went home, and so did Andrew Kopp. He went home. You have no depth. You can't score. Your top defenseman, you don't know if he's going to start the season. You can't put him on LTIR, which would have freed up enough money for Gaudreau, but you couldn't have done it because if he passes this physical by chance, you're screwed on the money. They didn't want to part with a pick to get rid of JVR, but they shouldn't have put him in that place with that contract in the first place. Now, granted, that was a Hextall contract, so you can't really crush him for that. But you gave Risto $5 million. You trade for D'Angelo. There, that money right there. There's your Gaudreau money. And would Johnny Gaudreau save the Flyers? No. But it would have put butts in seats. It would have put eyes on the television, and you would have gotten a superstar player who wanted to come home, and you would have gotten him home. Hell, I would have watched every game just to watch him and Couturier on the same line.
Yeah.
I am embarrassed to be a Flyers fan, and this is a team I love dearly, and that's why I'm embarrassed. Now I'm happy Johnny Gaudreau went to my second favorite team, the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I'm embarrassed to be a Flyers fan today.
Now, we did have a question in chat because I fired that away. It says, anybody else, by the way, if you didn't see, now is the time to ask your questions to chat as we're kind of moving towards the end of the show here. Fletcher signed the worst forward in the league for 4 years. They're tanking. Are they tanking on purpose? Which, I know that the answer is no, but go ahead.
Yes. No, they're not. Oof.
It's a sad part.
Yeah, when it comes to the Flyers and specifically Johnny Gaudreau, would he have solved this team specifically this year? Absolutely not. But would he, especially with, what was it, 10 years that he got? What was the length of the 8?
7. He couldn't have signed for 8. He signed for 7 at 9.75, which was lower than I thought he would have gotten.
So,
quite frankly.
For 7 years, you would have had a player that, let's say, let's be conservative and say 4 out of those 7 years, you would have had a difference maker on your team and someone that you could build around. Right now, you have Carter Hart, maybe Sean Couturier. Who else are you looking to build around on this team? You would have at least had one more player to add to that list if you had gotten Gaudreau. And then everything else I would have said Greg already covered. Butts in the seats. It made this team more relevant. All of that.
Yep.
But I see chat mentioning the Flyers tanking and this, that, and the third. No, they're not. They really think they're going to be a good team, which again is why I literally popped a blood vessel over the John Tortorella hiring. Because Tortorella is a guy who it's a win now move, and you need to bring in a guy who is going to set up a new culture and move this team going forward. You need a player developmental coach, and I just don't think you have that in John Tortorella.
Forrester, good prospect. Gauthier, 5th overall pick. Like they're, I wish Shane Wright would have fallen to 5, but you got Gauthier. You got guys like Bobby Brink still, who's young and up and coming. Cam York. So like you still got prospects that are there to watch and be excited about. But at the same time, when there's no hope on the horizon and no real top end talent, Sean Couturier is a darn good hockey player. Ryan Ellis is a great defenseman, but these guys have been hurt. So, like, Kevin Hayes at $7 million. Kevin Hayes at $7 million. What a suck. What a money suck that is. Like, good player, great guy. Not worth $7 million. to be a 2C.
That day one, I popped a blood vessel over, by the way.
Which, by the way, was Chuck. That was a Chuck contract.
That was a Chuck contract.
So like D'Angelo and Risto, like, what are you doing, Chuck? This is the same GM who signed Zach Parise and Ryan Suter to 13-year, $120 million contracts. The guy is not one to be like shy about it, but they're always the wrong player. You traded for Ryan Ellis, who played 4 games. Like, you knew he was an injury risk. What are we doing? He's got like a $7 million almost cap hit. Like, when healthy, sure, but when healthy is the question. They're directionless. They're boring. They can't score. Carter Hart's being wasted. He's not going to be. He's a great trade asset. Boy, I would look to move him out, put Sandstrom in the net, let him be the one that has to deal with this defense. D'Angelo is like the most head scratching move. I am just perplexed, and I don't mind Tony D'Angelo as a player. Fine for a winning team, but this team, they just have no direction. They have no top-end offensive talent. I still like TK. I think Owen Tippett's a fine player. Maybe they surprise some people, but like McEwen is back now, and it's like, well, there was your enforcer, but no, Delorier is here for 4 freaking years.
Yeah, look, why?
It's just, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. I think the process on ice is like a little much. Like, they're not going to be quite like a 12-win hockey team like that Sixers team was, and also the process kind of had a point to it. Like,
I was saying, the process of being too kind to this because like that was them purposely being bad because they're like, cool, we have no future, let's be bad and we'll build. This Flyers team has delusions of grandeur.
Absolutely. Yeah, they think they're going to win. That's why they hired John Tortorella.
The Flyers, as now constructed, are like a 7 to 14th overall pick for the next 7 or 8 years, which will get you nowhere. The Phils have done that for a long time. Like, it's just gotten them nowhere until Barber took over. So, like,
I'm really hoping they're so bad that halfway through the season they sell off what little they have so they can really just be bad.
You could
just
trade
do the Pittsburgh thing.
You could trade Couturier, TK, but like, you're not going to trade Risto, you're not going to trade D'Angelo, you're not going to trade Ellis.
Nobody's going to take it.
You could trade Hart, and that'll get you probably some first rounders back. But like, the teams that are going to give you those first rounders are late first rounders because they're good teams. So it's this crazy cycle of like, they have no talent. Like, that's what I like about the Reds and what they did. They traded their 2 best pitchers and they got 7 top 20 prospects from that. Like, we don't have that luxury. So, we traded our captain and got a first rounder in 11 years. So I'm just, the lack of direction is what kills me. And the fact that they're just so expensive. You can't even take your kids there to watch a game of a growing young up and coming team because it still costs an arm and a leg. So I just have no faith in the direction of the franchise. And I'm just kind of done for now. They're not going to get my attention, and they're certainly not getting my money for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty much echoes the sentiments that Keith and I have reigned through these airwaves in weeks past. I wanted to make sure that we were all kind of lock in step, and unfortunately, we're all finally in a weird spot with the Flyers, and it's like, it's few and far between where it's like the Broad Street bulliers are still thinking that this team's going to be relevant. But again, poker in the rear with a good comment. No identity whatsoever, just chase and dump, or I guess it's dump and chase. That kind of threw me off to read it like that.
Yeah.
When they can't win a puck battle. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing a lot less of the dump and chase as of late, but there's no speed, there's no skill, there's no offense, and I haven't even got to the defense.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Like, honestly.
Go Birds.
What are your thoughts on Jalen Reagor, Greg?
Second team Jalen Reagor?
Jalen Reagor. I meant Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. It was a Freudian.
No, you didn't.
Training camp superstar Jalen Reagor. Jalen Hurts.
I meant going into year 3, and obviously his most talented offense that he's going to have, in his football career.
22 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns, 10 wins.
Okay.
I think I got them right at 10 wins too. That make them a playoff team?
It does.
I think so too.
Don't know if they win a playoff game, but anybody can. You know, nothing says they can't. Got it, the best offense they've had since the Super Bowl year. So it's really all on Jalen, isn't it?
This might be the best wide receiving core, or at least
Ever.
top 2 that we've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll compete with Macklin, Jackson. I think that's, you know, the obvious comparables, and I think that the
T.O. and James Thrash. Anybody with T.O. and it's already in the conversation.
T.O. is, you know, the clear number one of all time.
Yeah.
Or not of all time, of our
time.
Hal Carmichael's, you know, I'm giving one to the, you know, maybe, but you know, as far as
Fryer,
as far as like this core,
Irving Fryer,
Quez Watkins, look,
he got hurt today. Is he all right?
Call me. I didn't see. I was. I kind of had my ear.
Chat. Is he okay?
Ground. We can look it up. I'll go to the cloud.
Which, by the way, he's a 99 speed on Madden, or is he 98?
I don't know. I haven't got it yet. I'm gonna probably buy this year's Madden because I want to play with this offense.
Illness. I just checked Twitter, so it should be all right.
Yeah, I think he's a 98 speed if I'm thinking correctly.
You know me, I'm always gonna fall in love with the speedy wide receivers. Quez Watkins fits that mold. I'm going to follow those guys blindly down the well. I'm willing to call myself out on it. That being said, I think Quez Watkins going into year 3 is, you know, we saw a lot of signs of progress, but not consistency last year. If we can get some consistency, who knows what you get out of him. I don't know if Jalen Reagor is going to be anything this year, but
if he's on the team,
I'm curious to see if he's a slot receiver, if they find any sort of role for him.
Look, you got your top 4 locked in.
Yeah, the I'm drawing a blank. The wide receiver from Cleveland, from the Colts. I mean,
Zach Pascal.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a sneaky good pickup.
That's one of the top 4. That's why number 5, like Reagor's fighting for the 5th slot.
Yeah, and I think that he's. I mean, look, I'm not. I don't think Reagor's. We're literally kind of talking about him because I misspoke. I don't think he fits in the NFL or on this roster. But if I'm a Reagor guy, if I'm defending myself the day that we drafted him, my YouTube self, on our most viewed clip, but if I'm going back to that, we still haven't seen enough consistency out of Quez, and you don't really know.
Yeah, you don't give up on a guy in your top 2 rounds.
I gotta get his name up in front of me. What's his name again? The wide receiver. I literally just asked.
Zach Pascal.
Yeah. We as Eagles fans have never seen him play in a game. You know, as an Eagle. Even as his Colts, you know, tenure, it's not like he lit the world on fire, but there's promise there. It's almost like in the NFL. Dude. He's basically like a Mickey Moniak, but a little bit better. He's like a positive trending. Like in NFL terms, you're getting a cheap wide receiver that's kind of young, and you don't really know what you're gonna get. So
Jalen Reagor's your 4th slot option behind Quez, Pascal, Gainwell, and then Reagor. Let's not forget about Gainwell.
Let's not forget about Gainwell. Again, speaking of flashes, a guy that you saw some very fine flashes out of last year. I think that's your trending 3rd down back. I think that's your kind of your wide receiver back. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I think this run game is going to be something to be reckoned with too, and that's including Jalen Hurts. So we haven't even really talked about the defense, but again, we're kind of just bringing it up because we got Greg here, and it's fun to get another opinion and point of view into the fray. But it seems like we're all feeling like if the Eagles don't make the playoffs this year, it'll probably be Jalen Hurts' fault.
Yep.
Or injuries.
Or absolutely, and that's. I mean, you can say
that's because Novacare's still around.
I don't want to say that. That's pretty much every team, right? Like any team that has a shot, you have to consider injuries as well.
But you also have to consider the quarterback. It's always the quarterback or injuries.
Again, and they were literally the 2 things that I brought up. And look, this is going to be this is the make or break year for Jalen Hurts.
It is.
There's no way around it. Howie Roseman, if one thing just said, here's everything for you. We're going to take advantage of the fact that there's no dead money in the quarterback right now, or you're on a rookie deal. We're going to just take advantage of it and build a roster around it. A lot of people are experts are saying that the Philadelphia, I almost said Phillies, the Philadelphia Eagles have the best roster on paper. It just depends on the quarterback. And look, there's no buts about it. The Eagles went and kind of did some digging on some quarterbacks this offseason, and they came up with Hurts. And you can do worse, but you can absolutely do better too. And it, at the end of this year, we're going to really see. I think the book is going to be out on Jalen Hurts, and man, I'm rooting for him because if not for anything, he's the Eagles quarterback.
We need a football. We need a football version of got to be better than Kyle. So I vote got to be better than Carson. Wentz, I'm saying, not strong. Just be better than Carson, which over the past couple of years hasn't been hard. And I'll say this: if Jalen stinks, which I think he'll be a passable quarterback, if he's top 12 quarterback, we're in good position. Thank gosh we have Gardner Minshew, who again might not be the greatest starter in the world, but he's probably the best or second best backup quarterback in the league.
Probably.
And he's going to win you some games. He's not going to maybe win you a Super Bowl, but Nick Foles did. And, the parallels are there that a backup quarterback, Howie values that. And I'm glad we have somebody like Gardner Minshew in the fold. He's not
absolutely
never going to light the world on fire, but he's not Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
True.
I would, this is kind of weird to say, but like Gardner Minshew could easily be this team's like backup
Nick
of the
Foles.
Future. Like, he could, and it's not I don't mean that in a slight. Like, I mean that kind of think about Coy Detmer and how there was stability in that position for so many years, and I'm digging deep in the 10 archives, but
we're old now because people in the chat are like, who the hell is Coy Detmer?
What? Google it. He was the best goddamn placeholder David Akers ever had. But again. And you got it in chat. Minshew's probably the best backup in the NFL right now, and it kind of goes to the lock and step with what Greg was just saying. Shout out to Mitch too. I remember that name, Mitch. I see you. Yeah, it's now I don't know how that might I don't think that necessarily lights a pressure under a guy like Jalen Hurts, but okay, if the Eagles start off slow, Sports Talk in this, town will start bringing things up. But as far as on the field and what matters, I think it's very valuable that Minshew is here. And again, I think that he's a guy that I honestly think that could be signed here and stabilized as kind of your backup in years past. Because I think at this point, everyone in the NFL knows what you're getting out of Gardner Minshew. You're getting a good backup.
Stabilized. Chuck Fletcher? Is that you?
Oh, man.
Stabilization? Is that you, Chuck?
Oh, no. Not me.
Anthony resigns here.
I'll see myself out.
They very well could win the division. It's very much on the table. I mean, there's one team standing in the way, and they, on paper, probably have a better roster.
Dak Prescott, much better quarterback. Dallas Cowboys, not much better team.
Yeah, and I would say Nick Sirianni already a better coach than Mike McCarthy. What a piece of junk. Love Jerry Jones, who's just continuing to give the Eagles gifts of Mike McCarthy and the guy who got Jason Garrett. Thank you for making the worst decisions possible. This just makes me so happy.
And then shout out to the Giants for being like, oh yeah, we'll take Jason, and then they'll be like, oh god, this guy's a nightmare. What is our defense?
Now they got Brian Daboll, who is actually an intelligent human being. Shout out to Bill Belichick for texting the wrong Brian and ultimately costing the Dolphins a draft pick. He knew what he was doing. He said, we're going to win this. The Eagles, it's exciting. I think 6 weeks or something like that until Scott Hansen comes back for Red Zone Sundays. So not very long. Very, very exciting. The Eagles schedule also very favorable. So it's exciting. Phil's leading right into the Eagles. We get to watch both for a month overlap. That's super exciting. And so basketball season's coming back. I'm sure you guys are hyped for that.
October is a fantastic time of the year.
Love October
because you're almost into winter, so climate wise better for us winter people at least. And then just it's like it's basically October or March that is like the sports mecca, and you just all of the stars online.
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
You kind of get everything just at once in this beautiful little cornucopia of sports. But yeah, you got baseball playoffs, you got NFL, tipping, or NFL, NHL, and NBA pretty much all tipping off at the same time. Yeah, it's NHL as far as the Flyers in this town, but I'm still excited for the sport. I was riding that Avs train that paid off for the first time since 2001.
Yeah, Ray Bork.
So yeah, it was a fun run.
I have some nonsense.
Yeah, let's do that. We got a couple more minutes before we wrap up tonight. We're in the
we have bedtime.
Final thoughts segment.
So Greg might be more in tune with this, given that he is a father and is in the children's toys more often than maybe. Well, then again, we do have Pinto here, so who knows? But obviously, everybody knows what Play-Doh is, toys. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So whenever I'm fiddling on air, it's Play-Doh, because I have not only the one that I showed you, but I have 3 things of Play-Doh, as we see right here, because my mom knows I'm a simple man.
I'm showing chat too. When Keith was in the war room, this was his other favorite.
That was my fiddle. Yes.
I'll show you now, Keith, if you remember Venom.
Oh, I remember Venom. Don't worry. I'm open about this. I have ADHD, and I tend to need to fiddle with something, or I'm moving, and I try not to move because it's a bad habit.
I twirl my headphone wire. I don't know if I use the war room, our little font, to hide it though.
So this is where this is headed. By the way, I know Greg probably ran off to grab something for just this purpose, and hopefully he can hear me.
Yeah.
Here comes headphones. So this is the point of this. So I have those 3 things of Play-Doh. I got this for Christmas, and I just don't like it whatsoever. It is slime crackle Play-Doh. So
I'll be seeing that
I will
off store soon.
So I'm gonna do this too. Yeah.
No, it's so aesthetically unpleasing.
It's physically unpleasing. I will do this on camera.
Ivan Ooze.
No.
My 3-year-old would go crazy for that. She got slime over the weekend that got in her hair. Yep. I had to wash out the slime in her hair.
The first time I did one of these, and I went, ugh. And I handed it to my brother. I said, I heard you like to collect slimes, mold, and fungi, which is a reference to Ghostbusters, who, for those who don't know, because, Peter Venkman in the first opening, he collected, he has slime stuck on him, and then eventually gives that to Egon, who does collect slimes, mold, and fungi. But yeah, I was poking that at the end because I can't help but go, I hate this. So I guess it does work. Do you think your oldest would actually enjoy that or hate it so much she loves it?
She loves slime, man. It's her new thing. But the other thing I got her into recently,
crackle.
That's the OG.
The OG. So I've got her into Pokemon Tour. She loves it and adores it like I do. And I showed her the blue version. She caught a Meowth with my Master Ball, and I've never been more proud. And she knows Meowth. She knows about 40 Pokemon by name, and she's 3.5. So I will take
that's impressive.
We take those.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. But anybody who doesn't know me out there knows that this is my pride and joy. And
it is.
I'm a Pokemon collector. I have almost every game in physical cartridge form, and Pokemon's my favorite thing on earth besides Phillies baseball. So, and I'm 34. So there's that.
That's right. Greg's the oldest one here tonight. Let's shout that out.
Year and 2 days. Pokemon. Got me by a year and 2 days exactly.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that somebody in chat got a little excited from. I can't see chat. I accidentally closed it. But got excited by the old Pokemon Blue version.
Oh, yeah. Well, if anything, I did. So
I'm gonna say
Jeez.
I don't know if you heard
Tell
it,
you
but
what.
you probably should have heard
As soon as you pop that thing
from
out,
Pinto.
Denver started pawing at the doors. He sensed something good. I can hear the cat is just at the door.
By the way, I named my 2 cats after Flyers. So like that's how much I love this team. I have a big tattoo on my leg. I named my
What are
one
your cats named? I actually don't know that.
Macy for Steve Mason,
Okay,
and Rue for Claude Giroux.
Okay.
Neither of which are still here. My cats have outlived my Flyers.
I mean, they're good. They were 2 good ones. I mean, people argue about Mason. I liked Mason.
I'm a Steve Mason apologist. That's just what it is. I always will
Same.
be. When we traded for him, I was like, Bob gone, Steve Mason in, yeah, didn't pan out, but
because they didn't put anything around him. So
still love. He gave up a goal from center ice in a playoff game. I think we're all set.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
they didn't put enough around him.
Here's chat. You know? If Pokemon Blue pops, you automatically get excited because of the implication.
Well, I saw Keith over here going like this with slime on his hand. I was like, "What the hell's he doing?"
You never know. You never know. Family show, but maybe not.
What was going on? We're in final thoughts territory.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it is.
Okay.
We're far into.
I start talking about Play-Doh slime. I think we're in final thoughts.
23 games, 2 losses, 10 shutouts. First place, Philadelphia Union. Can we please recognize the best team in the city is, of course, our Philadelphia Union, who are 3 points up on New York City FC, who they have a game in hand. What are you going to do about it? They've lost 2 freaking games out of 23, guys. 2 games. Their goal differential is the best in MLS soccer. They're the best team in the city. They don't get enough love. They've scored 7 goals.
Signed a midfielder today.
Yeah, today they just signed a midfielder. He's more of a swing guy. He's not exactly like going to light the world fire. He's a Kenyan. I can't remember his name. He's a good player. He's going to be good depth at a spot we need it. But like they just put a 7 spot up on the Revs that are DC United. They just put a 6 spot up on Houston Dynamo their last game. Like guys, pay attention to the Philadelphia Union. You'll like soccer if you watch the U. They don't give up a lot of goals. You want to talk about good goaltending, good goalkeeping. Philadelphia Union, they got my vote for best team in the city going right now. Go you, dupe it up. Go Birds, go Phils. That's it for me.
That is fantastic. Keith, you got any final thoughts on that? Was the slime?
The slime was definitely my final thought.
Yeah.
Giving Greg some ideas for toys for his daughter.
Yeah, I don't know. I had nothing really planned as far as final thoughts goes. I guess I could talk a little bit about my Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame experience.
Yeah, or the fish shows.
Or like, I have a question for you if you want to mold it into your final thoughts.
Go ahead.
Where did your love for Thor, Noah Syndergaard, come from? Because that's new to me. I didn't know you were a Syndergaard fan.
He throws fast.
You did.
So, yeah. No, well, exactly. So, like, much like wide receivers who are fast, I just am enamored by pitchers who threw fast. And then Thor, the nickname is cool. And, his long, flowy hair is so pretty.
He's great on Twitter. He's phenomenal on Twitter.
Just like, it was just, it was that whole rotation, really, that the Mets just, like, popped up without a nowhere.
Harvey, Syndergaard, Matt, and Wheeler.
And they were all really marketable, too. Which, like, I know doesn't mean a lot, but it also does. And yeah,
yes, I didn't say DeGrom, but DeGrom.
But yeah, I don't know. I fell in love with that whole Mets rotation, and I was like, man, if you were any team other than the Mets, I would low key root for you. But they were the Mets. So it's just like, yeah, it's just nice to get, like, when we got Wheeler, I was like, obviously Wheeler much better, spot at this point in his career. Syndergaard has just been battered by injuries, as much of that rotation was, after you look at it down the line. But yeah, I'm for it. I'm glad he's here. As far as just like a quick rental, I'm okay with the experiment. I'm okay with a guy whose ceiling is so high. And if it falls through, it only falls through for the rest of this year, and you gave up, relatively nothing. So I'm happy about the deal. Again, these moves feel like upgraded versions of how we felt about the last 2 trade deadlines for the Phillies. The last two ones were like, and both like the in ascending order, kind of from worst to best, 3, 2, 1, going to this year. But it just felt like 2 years ago we were like, people were like, oh well, they didn't really give up much. I'm like, but they needed so much. And then last year, they needed less, but they didn't. It was the same thing. It was they didn't really give up much. And it kind of feels like again this year our kind of our falling back point is they didn't give up much, but this year in particular just feels like they got back a lot more. They got back a move, and as far as the center field goes, where it's not the sexiest move, but you're looking to the future with at least one of these moves. And low key, the sexiest move of this trade deadline might be David Robertson. And then again, it's the Syndergaard move, and then getting rid of Odubel Herrera. I'm actually surprised I didn't spend 15 minutes just dancing around the room doing that. But by far, like, one of my least favorite baseball players of probably all time, but at least of recent time. And as bad on the field as he is off the field, and just, man, I'm so to get a player with that little baseball IQ off your team, you're gonna see it. It's gonna pay off. So yeah, I'm just I don't know. I guess I wrapped that Syndergaard thing into the whole Phillies, but that's what I did with it. But yeah, anything else tonight, guys?
No, that's it for me.
This has been fantastic. Guys, thank you all for tuning in. Real quick, I want to give I know Greg's not going to do it, so I'll do it. Please, I cannot recommend it more. Listen to We Podcast and We Know Things.
Yes.
If you like anything at all, they're going to talk about it eventually. Like,
Probably.
These guys talk about everything in the best way possible. Music every week, TV and pop culture every week. So yeah, it probably helps. They're the two of my best friends, but Greg and Sam, just awesome entertainment. And they know every time I kind of tend to binge you guys, and you guys know every time I'm doing it, because I'm like, I'm not going to text them. And then I just bombard Greg and Sam with like 30 texts throughout the day.
Our group chat gets used once a month, but it gets used for the whole day because we're going back and forth. Yeah. It's awesome.
I do listen to you guys occasionally, and you probably don't know when, but like usually is when I have to go out and my job is delivery, and when I have to go out there and deliver, it's nice to put it on for a few hours out of the day and listen to you. That's where I get great nicknames such as Greg Thick Cheese Hall.
That was the worst part of that movie.
But I get things like that I will forever call you. I still have to meet Sam in person at some point. I actually have never met him in person.
Me neither. I've known him for 26 years. I've never met him. The real Sam. I don't know.
I've met his girlfriend in person, oddly enough, but that's a story for a different time.
She works in the same field as you, I'd imagine.
She does, actually.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
She works with my brother. So yeah, it's a little bit of worlds colliding.
Thank you, guys. That means a lot. You're right. I wasn't going to plug.
Shout out your social media on here and where we can find your podcast and everything.
Yeah, if you'd like to follow me, because imagine that you know how much talking I did tonight. Imagine that 24 hours a day. That is at Greg Talks a Lot, aptly enough. At Greg Talks a Lot, or you can find the podcast at We Podcast and We Know Things on Instagram, Facebook. We don't have a Twitter because I just tend to use my personal Twitter for anything pod related. But again, We Podcast and We Know Things, a Game of Thrones reference for if you're a Lannister fan. We do talk a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking Better Call Saul. WrestleMania is coming to Philly in 2024. Yu Yu Hakusho. There's a Pokemon Presents tomorrow at 9 a.m. talking about Gen 9. We're going to talk about that this week. We have bands on the show all the time. And this is not clickbait. This is not a tease. This is actually legitimate. We are making this week a podcast-changing, altering announcement to lead the show off this week. So that is not clickbait. I'm not underselling it. It is literally going to change the pod as we know it. We just celebrated our 6th year this past Sunday, 2 days ago. 378 episodes total. So thanks for everybody who did listen. Thanks for everybody who will listen. Appreciate it. We podcast and we know things. And at Greg Talks a Lot for me on Twitter. Appreciate the shout out and the time, guys.
You can find that on iTunes and Spotify and whatnot.
Everywhere. Look us up somewhere that you can get pods, we're there. All
right, cool. I look forward. I guess Anthony and I are going to have to listen this week to see what modifications are coming out.
Will be. So yeah, I guess with that we can put a bow on this pretty show. It has been a fun one. Thank you guys for tuning in, both live and on demand. Shout out to our YouTube audience and everything like that. So with that, yeah, we got nothing else to say. With that, I'm Anthony Pinto.
I'm Keith Malashevsky.
I'm Greg Hall.
And we are out of here.